to say, these are my dreams, and it might not make sense right now to invest in this thing, but what would Stephanie do in 6 months, 12 months? Would she be him and hawing over this investment, or would she say, you better invest in that or you're going to regret it that you didn't? Follow the nudges, follow the callings. I'm not telling you to make dumb investments. I'm telling you to invest in what makes sense for where you're going. Even if it doesn't make sense today, but you can see the vision, you can see what is possible. You've painted the picture, and now you have to step into it. And that's what I mean when I say the identity that I've had to embody before it's even here. Hey sis, welcome to the Sisterhood, Soul, and Strategy podcast, a space for women building businesses that feel as good as they look. I'm Steph, a small town girl from Wisconsin with big dreams to positively impact the world. This podcast is from the heart, where we share real conversations about building intentional businesses that thrive in every season. And the best part, we talk both soul and strategy, and we wrap it all up in sisterhood. Because let's be real, business is more fun in community. So no matter your age or stage of small business ownership, you stumbled upon this podcast for a reason. Now, let's get to the good stuff. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you are excited as I am about today's solo episode, all about the 5 lessons I have learned each year of building Small Business Sister Circle. So we're celebrating 5 years in business this month, which is July of 2026. And I thought, what a fun solo episode that I could record to take you through the journey, the evolution, the identity shifts that have had to happen, and just all the iterations of Small Business Sister Circle, and pull out the lessons that I have learned as the community leader, as a CEO, as an entrepreneur myself, in building and growing and scaling this business education community in a sustainable way. So let's get into it. The first year we launched was July of 2021. I was coming fresh off of my own certified speaker training with my mentor, Misty, and I was feeling called to share my story, to help lead other entrepreneurs, and really kind of in my own season of a storm as an entrepreneur leading my fitness and yoga studios and Empow through the pandemic. I was looking for a more local community of women business owners who I could honestly just connect with, have real raw conversations with. And I, at that point, had been an entrepreneur for about 8 years. And I felt like I had a lot to share. I had a lot of hard lessons learned. I had a lot of experience and a lot of successes as well to share with other entrepreneurs who were maybe newer in their business and looking for that level of support and community and a safe space. So it all started with a picnic on the Great River Landing on a hot July day that I pulled my sister, Catherine, into this idea. It really was my brainchild, but I thought, well, how much fun would it be to do it together as sisters and give other female entrepreneurs the kind of support that we've always innately had as sisters and as entrepreneurs coming from a family of business owners. What if we could provide that kind of sister support to other women business owners? So that's really the origin of Sister Circle. And we launched it as a small, I think there was 10 women at our first picnic, which was so much fun. We had one of the ladies taking photos. Shout out to Andrea. We had our charcuterie board, and we really just wanted to pitch this idea of women getting together and talking about business. So we had such a fun time at that initial launch and so much traction of people. Like, we launched a social media page for Sister Circle. We shared about this event, and so many people were reaching out and DMing us like, hey, when's the next one? So we thought, okay, let's try a social. And that social sold out. I think we had 30 or 40 women in the room. And at that point, I was like really feeling the call to create a conference. So I thought, let's do a conference in November, which was probably the worst time of year to do it. But we threw together a conference within like a month or two, which is just insane to me now that I did this then. But we threw together our first, what we called Women in Business Conference that was hosted at my mentor's studio, the dance studio, Misty's Dance Unlimited, in which at that time I was still running my studio out of that building as well. And I think we had like 20 women join us for that first conference. But that was our starting point. It was very humble beginnings, but I was just so excited to be surrounded by other big dreaming women. So that was the beginning of Sister Circle at the end of 2021. And then I thought, well, we should probably do the conference in the spring instead of waiting till the end of the year. So our second Sister Circle conference, which we then renamed Sister Circle Summit, happened in the spring of 2022. And we doubled in size from about 20 women to about 40 women. And that's when the momentum really started taking off. And at that point, we were still only doing pop-up socials, only doing some webinars. I was doing some free community webinars on live stream. I was doing socials that were free. I was doing workshops. I was doing a lot for free just to meet new people and get them to experience what Sister Circle could look like and feel like. For that first year and a half, I was literally beta testing. And that's what I recommend every single entrepreneur should do when they first start their business is figure out what the need is, what do you like doing, and then fill that void. If you don't know by now, you should know that I am a crunchy millennial mom, and I am very specific about what kind of products I put on my skin, especially when it comes to makeup. And I love that I found a clean makeup line that is local to me and owned by an incredible female small business owner called Elm & Co. Some of my favorite products include the lip oil that keep my lips hydrated while I'm sleeping, the mineral activated, so it's water activated eyeshadow, because if you can't tell, I love a shimmer and shine eyeshadow that stays on all day. And I also use the cream blush Summer's Kiss and the lipstick Sparks Fly. Use my code STAFF at checkout to save 15% off on every order you purchase. If you're looking for a clean makeup line that leaves your skin feeling healthy, glowing, and you can feel good about it, go shop Elm & Co. today. So even in that first year, I actually did some one-to-one coaching, which I realized at that point I didn't enjoy it, but it was mostly because I wasn't coaching. I was like taking on clients who wanted me to do integration projects, and that is not my genius. That is not my strength. And so at that point, I thought, well, I don't like one-on-one coaching, but it was more so the people I was working with were just not the right fit, and I was not meant to be taking their projects and actually doing the work. I was meant to be more of a strategizing, but we'll come back to that a little bit more at the end of the podcast on how that has evolved. Overlying theme that I learned, the lesson I learned in year one, was that there was a need for a local community in my area of La Crosse, Wisconsin, small business Sister Circle could fill. And I was very confident of that because I looked around. I had tried a lot of other groups. I had tried the chamber. I had tried other like BNI type events, and that was not the vibe that I was going for. That's not what I wanted to build with Sister Circle. And so I saw the need for the community locally. Moving into year two, which was 2022 to 2023, about halfway through the year is when I realized that I was actually ready to step away from the first business that I built, Zen and Pow. So Sister Circle kind of got put on the back burner for a few months while I closed that brick and mortar studio and really re-envisioned what that could look like for me moving into my next chapter. And it's also the time that I launched this podcast as the Soul Driven with Steph podcast, and I launched my real estate business. So that was all at the end of 2022. And then moving into the winter, the new year of 2023, I started to feel this really weird calling to create consistent monthly experiences for Sister Circle and move these like random pop-ups into a monthly membership. And it didn't make any sense at the time because I was launching my real estate business and I was closing down my other membership business. And then I wanted to build a new membership with Sister Circle. Like, it literally made no sense. I remember even my sister saying, like, why do you feel like you need to do this right now? And I didn't really have a good answer for it. I was like, I don't know. I really can't tell you why I feel this way, but this is like one of those God nudges that, like, I just know that I'm meant to do this. So I hosted a social. We used to call them Women with Wisdom, hosted at the Court above Maine. I hosted a social on December 8th, and I was going to launch membership that night. And I was so excited about it. I couldn't wait to see who was going to sign up. So I carried out the event, and at the end, I pitched this Sister Circle membership to start in January of 2023. And I only had one person sign up. Shout out to Kristen, because you were my first member. And I was so discouraged. I remember going home that night and texting my friend Alana, who had been very supportive and has really seen the vision for Sister Circle since the beginning. And I remember texting her, and she's really good at sales and marketing. And I was like, I don't know, like, if this is a good idea. Like, I only got one person signed up. And she's like, no, we're going to repackage this and you need to keep promoting it. Obviously, you cannot pitch something once and then expect it to fill. Like, that's just not how it works. And I know that, but I was feeling discouraged and I needed her encouragement. So I thought, okay, what if I make this a micro commitment? So it's a 3-month commitment, because no one really knew what they were signing up for, right? They've never experienced a membership like the one that I had the vision to build. And I thought, if I don't get 15 people signed up to start in January, then I'm not going to do it, because I had other things that I could focus on. Sure enough, I not only had my founding 15 members by January, but I had founding 18 women that said yes and took a chance on this vision, this dream that I had. And we started meeting monthly in the upstairs of Misty's Nuts Unlimited, this tiny little conference room that only held about that many people. It was a tight fit. If you were there, you know. And I really didn't know at the time. I knew we would meet in person once a month and virtual once a month. And I was figuring out what it would look like. So again, I was beta testing even in the early years of membership. But I continued that membership and it started to take off. It started to grow. So in that second year, the lesson that I learned is that there was a need for consistent monthly support, which was what I built with the membership, because I was seeing how these one-off events and experiences, people were getting lit up and then not having the support to carry out the ideas that they gained from them or follow up with the connections and build the depth of the relationships that a membership provides. So that there was a need for consistent support, and also that I needed to trust my gut. That was a huge God calling to build it into a membership. And if I wouldn't have followed that, I don't know where this community would be. I don't know where I would be. But just the journey that it's taken me on, I know that I was meant to follow that calling. So that was year 2. Moving into year 3 of Sister Circle was 2023 through 2024. We experienced rapid growth. Mind you, we continued to carry out our summit every single spring following that first spring one. And our membership grew to almost 60 members. And I was overwhelmed. I was running my studio still in pop-up version. I was growing my real estate business, and I was running this membership with 60 members, and I was starting to feel burnt out again. And so I was realizing that, one, we needed structure to the membership. This is when we actually added another virtual call to our monthly membership. So we started with just one virtual call. We added a second. And we started to create a framework around our structure, what each meeting was, what was the goal of each meeting, what did people get out of it, how did they build off of each other. We actually extended the membership to be a 6-month commitment at this point because we were realizing 3 months really wasn't even enough time for people to build the kind of depth and education that they needed for their business. So we moved to 6-month membership. I built out the circle of small business success, and we started getting really clear on what each meeting was for. You can imagine that when you have 60 members meeting in person monthly, it starts to get a little bit unmanageable. So we had to grow into a bigger studio room of Misty's, in which I was setting up by myself every single month. That alone got to be a lot of physical work to do. And it almost became really challenging to give everyone what they needed out of that one 90-minute meeting, because some of the women were there to solely just connect and chit chat. And then other women were there and wanted to get down to business and let's talk strategy. And I want to learn some things. And it was getting more and more difficult to try to accommodate all of these wants and needs within the community. So I had to get really clear on year 3 on who we're for and who we're not for, and how we can find the balance of learning and growing and the strategy alongside all of the connections. We had to start getting really clear. And at this point, because I didn't have a team, but I had to start getting really clear on who we were for and who we were not for. And I know that in building out the structure of we have our masterclass and then we have the coffee and connection, and this is what we're doing in coffee and connection. This is not just chit chat social hour, and this is what we're doing in the support call. When I started building structure around the community is when I did start to see some people opting out. And I had to be okay with that. I had to be okay with people not feeling like it was a fit for them because I was creating structure around what I wanted it to be. Because at the end of the day, if we are not creating a business that actually is something that we would pay for, then we need to pivot. And for me, I don't need to pay $99 a month to go chit chat with people. I actually want to get something out of it. I want to learn something. I want to apply something. I want to have purposeful conversations. Then that is what I'll pay for. And it was a challenge as the CEO to really navigate some of these changes and how people would receive them, and just all of the things that came with getting really clear on our ideal client and who we're for and who we're not for. So that was year 3. Hey sis, it's Steph here, and I just want to interrupt this episode to ask you, if you're listening to this podcast and you have not stepped inside our community, what are you waiting for? What makes Sister Circle so special is that we have both virtual and in-person opportunities for not just connection, but growth and learning and implementation, and actually moving the needle in our business on the things that we know are going to make a difference. I want to invite you to join us inside our Circle community for 30 days for just $30 to really experience the energy, the community, and the strategy and all the resources that we have inside of our community. So you're going to get access to as many meetings that are happening in real time, in person, virtual. Really, truly, it's the connections to the women and the sisters inside this community that are priceless. Just join us for a full month to really get the full experience of what Sister Circle is all about. Click the link in the show notes to experience Sister Circle inside our community today. And that was my lesson learned in year number 3, is not all rapid growth is good, because while yes, it might add more money to your bottom line, it can also create more problems for you to satisfy everyone's desires and needs and accommodate everyone. And you really do have to define who is your ideal client and what do you stand for and what is your service provided, so that you can create the right experience for the right people and be okay with some of the people opting out and not feeling like it is a fit for them. And by year 3 is when I had lots of data. I had done a lot of beta testing and I had figured out what worked, what didn't, what I wanted the community to be. And then I had to make some hard decisions, even if it meant that I would lose people along the way, which is also a lesson that every business owner needs to learn at some point. And I had already learned in other businesses that some people are a season for a reason, and that is okay. And a membership or subscription-based community or business is always going to have people opting in and out for the life and season that they're in. So that was 2023 through 2024. Moving into year 4, which was 2024 through 2025, was a big year because I was growing my family. I was pregnant most of that year, and I learned in the previous year that I could no longer sustain the kind of experience that I wanted to give every single member when it all relied on me. So my big lesson learned in year number 4 was that this community, in order for it to grow and evolve moving forward, especially scale in a sustainable way, which I had this vision for chapters at this point, but I knew that this could not scale sustainably for the season that I'm in without it costing me if I didn't start to bring in support and team. So that was my big lesson learned in 2024. And that summer was when I brought on Holly, which many of you know, started out as just community coordinator who was literally stepping in for a few hours a week, helping me run the monthly meetings and doing a little bit on the back end to really refine the onboarding process. So that's really why I brought Holly on, was because I felt like I was losing. I was like, people were slipping through the cracks in the onboarding because I couldn't keep up. I was so busy. We were growing and I was growing a human. So that's originally why I brought Holly on. And I knew that I needed a person to take over while I was on maternity leave. And that was Holly. It was perfect timing. She was closing her boutique. She got to step into this role. And now, well, I'll share about that in year 5, kind of where we're at with that now. But bringing her on was truly one of the best decisions I have ever made. And I firmly believe that was divine timing for both of us. And just watching how both of us have been able to evolve and grow in these roles that we play in building Sister Circle is just so soul-filling. So I brought her on in that summer, started training her how to take over some of the day-to-day so that she'd be able to do that while I was on maternity leave. In 2024 is when I started to really look ahead to the vision of building out chapters and what that was going to take. So phase 1 was train in Holly for maternity leave and train in certified speakers, which I called coaches at the time, and lead the certified coach training in that fall for our coaches, which are now our certified speakers, to be able to take over our monthly member meetings while I was snuggling my baby on maternity leave. And that is absolutely what we did. We trained in 11 speakers into our community. We plugged them into the months that I was on leave, which was about October through January, so that I was able to have a fully checked out 3 months of maternity leave, which I did pretty good with about 2, and then I was ready to come back and dive in. But, that's just because I love what I do. So that was phase 1. Now, here's something that I don't think people think about enough. I knew that I not only needed Holly and these certified speakers to take over during my maternity leave, but I also needed them to help me continue to build out the business after maternity leave when I'm in a new season of motherhood, because I knew that my capacity was not going to be the same. So if you're planning a maternity leave, just a side note, make sure that you have support, not just while you are on leave and leading up to it, but you're actually building in the proper support for postpartum, because honestly, that might be the hardest season that you step into as an entrepreneur. So I knew that I needed those speakers. I needed Holly, and I needed help building out Summit for when I came back off of maternity leave as a brand new mom with a newborn that I was nursing and doing all of the mom things, right? So that was 2024 into 2025. I also launched my book towards the end of that fourth year of Sister Circle. And I don't know if people realize this. Not only did I want to write a book to help other entrepreneurs and just inspire people in general. You guys, that's why I do anything that I do. I want to inspire people. But also, I don't do things willy-nilly. I have a strategy behind every single thing that I do. The book was intentionally written so that I could expand Sister Circle. I could find the right members, the right chapter leaders, the right people to bring into our ecosystem without needing to be everywhere all the time, because I knew that wasn't going to be a possibility for me as a brand new mom. So when I launched the book at the end of that fourth year in business in the summer of 2024, the intention was to use the book as a way for people to get to know me, to then reach out about my community or reach out about opening a chapter in their own city. And I can tell you that launch plan of the book has paid off tenfold, because not only was it the way that Chris, our very first chapter leader, found out about Sister Circle. She read the book. Her and I had met almost a decade prior. She saw that I published a book. She read the book. She scanned the code at the end of the book, which takes you to a list of resources, one being join a Sister Circle meeting. She joined the meeting. She was a fly in the wall, as she says. She joined membership as an online member, and within 2 months of being a member, she had already earned her investment back by launching an offer. And it was that fall, 2 months after Chris had joined membership, that we made the announcement that we were going to be expanding 2 chapters. And she was the very first person to reach out and say, I'm in. I am ready. I'm excited, and I want to bring this to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So the strategy with the book 1000% worked. And it has brought so many new people into our community, people I haven't even met, because I've sent the book to events and book clubs and places that I cannot be, and I still get to connect with them. So the biggest lesson I learned in year 4 was that the business could not grow, scale, or even maintain the level that I was at without bringing in support and without finding out ways to grow it without me being everywhere. And that was the book strategy. And moving into this last year, the 5th year of 2025 to 2026, I have brought this vision into phase 2. And in that 4th year, I was carrying out phase 1 and 2 of expanding Sister Circle, which phase 1 was applying for my trademark, because I knew that that could take a long time. That could be a process. And I started that in the summer of 2024. And also training up Holly and training up our speakers. That was phase 1. To be able to move into phase 2, which phase 2 was then launch the book and start to build out the first chapter. And the first chapter required us to create a lot of systems and a lot of structure. So that has been my biggest lesson for year 5. So 2025 to 2026, we have 1 chapter in Cedar Rapids that we launched at the beginning of this year, but all last summer into fall, we were building out the systems, the structure. I was writing the handbook that I would use to train in the new chapter leader. I was training in the chapter leader at our speaker training. We carried out our 2nd year of our in-person speaker training. We were building all of the checklists and the processes and the systems to be able to have a successful first launch of our chapter. And amidst all of this, we were refining our membership. We actually built out our roadmap for 2026 at the end of last year based on the scorecard that we sent our members. So we sent them a form at the end of last year asking them, based on the 6 areas of small business success that we teach on every single month, where are they strongest, where are they weakest? And then we built out our monthly topics, which turned into our 2026 roadmap based on that scorecard. And that was a huge change that we implemented, and it has resulted in such a positive way in the success that our members are receiving just 6 months into this year. So that was phase 2 of growing and expanding, was literally launching the first chapter, like just getting the systems and processes to be able to do that, which we did. And we're officially in phase 3 of expanding. And that means expanding to multiple chapters. And right now we're doing 2 new chapter launches at the same time. And I have also experienced that what worked for one chapter, just ours, or even just ours and Cedar Rapids, doesn't work for multiple chapters in our software system and our systems in general, in the structure and what I'm doing and not doing, and who's carrying what tasks and roles and all of those things. We've had to really pull it apart, simplify it. And this has forced me to step into a whole new role as not just the community leader, but more of that CEO visionary role. This spring, we carried out our 6th annual Sister Circle Summit. And before the summit, I booked a day to go sauna at my favorite place, Eldon Co. Shout out to them. So that I could have a day just like completely checked out and could focus on these visionary things. And what I did in that sauna session was I built out our ecosystem for Sister Circle, because we're not just building a business anymore. This is not just one business education community. This is an entire ecosystem. And let me just paint this picture for you, because this will give you a good idea of who we're for and where we're going and why certain elements of what we are doing are so important. And I had this realization in this sauna session by building out this ecosystem. I want you to envision 3 circles like a Venn diagram where all 3 circles are overlapping. One circle is membership. This is just our regular monthly membership that people continue to show up for month after month. We get excited about it. This is such an important arm of the business. The next circle is chapters. This is a new arm of the business, right? This is our chapters, like our members extending beyond that, and our chapter leaders. This is also crucial to be able to scale sustainably. And then the third circle is our next level leaders. These are our certified speakers. These are our next level leaders that I've been doing one-on-one coaching with. These are the speakers that we have on stage at Summit. These are the opportunities that we provide our members or anyone in our ecosystem to level up. If the regular membership is like they want more, or they've kind of maybe felt like they're looking for a deep dive, or they want next level accountability, then they move into that next level leader circle. And overlapping all 3 of these at the center of it is Sister Circle Summit. And that's why this event that we've done 6 years now is so important, because it's where our members get to have this experience to look forward to every single year. It's where our chapters get to come together and actually meet the people that they're seeing on the monthly calls in person. And it is the opportunity for our next level leaders and speakers to take the stage, to share their message, to have a stage to actually speak on. And that's why it's so important. And the reason why I had this aha and visually drawing out this ecosystem was so essential to me was because Summit is a huge lift. It has become more than something I can take on myself or even me and Holly. We actually need a team around it for next year. We are going to build in more of a team for Summit because it has become the crux of the center of our ecosystem, and it's so important, and it's continued to grow and scale and create this ripple effect into our mission and our Midwest movement. So understanding the importance of an event that is so much work and an investment to host at a space and have the marketing and the videography and all the things, but it's still worth it. And off of our summit this year, we were able to offer next level leadership, which I'm now one-on-one coaching 8 different members in our community. And I'm freaking loving it because I'm doing what I do best, which is provide strategy and mentorship and accountability to the people that want that next level accountability. And we were able to find our next 2 chapters who were sitting in the room at Summit and reached out after the fact that experience of Summit proved to them why they need a chapter in their area. So that was huge. And as we are launching these 2 more chapters, and my goal, my dream for this year is to have 5 by the end of the year. We're already at 4, and I know we're going to hit that 5th one. I've already had conversations with people reaching out saying, hey, I need this in my area. So I'll be curious to see who that is that opens that 5th chapter. Hey sis, if you're listening to this podcast, it's probably because you're growth minded and you're looking for more ways to step into your potential, to share your own message, to show up and lead yourself and your business in your next era. And you can do that as a speaker leader. Speaking is one of the best ways to grow your business and your brand, but I see way too many business owners completely winging it. And that is why I created the speaker training course. This is an opportunity for you to learn a rinse and repeat framework that you can use over and over and over again to build your signature talk and topic to give to any audience, to move them into action. It's designed to be completed in just 2 focused days to leave with a transformational talk that you can then go give to the right audience that will actually grow your business and your brand. You can join us for just the course at your own pace. You can also apply to become a Sister Circle certified speaker, or you can join us live in person for our next level speaker leader retreat this fall. Find more details in the show notes, and I can't wait to see you step into your speaker leader era. But the biggest lesson I learned in this last year is not only to build for the next level version of myself, and the ecosystem that I can visually see now why certain offers are so important and need my time and energy and attention. But I've also had to step into that role from just running everything myself to the CEO and the visionary. And that has required me to have a lot of changes in my identity even. Like, I don't want to lose my personal touches with my members. I want to keep those things, but that means that I need to get out of the back end of the building and be able to focus on the front end and the clients and the relationships. And so I found myself trying to go back in and kind of fix some of these things that, it'd be easy for me to just tweak this in our software. But then I end up actually creating a mess on the back end, which I don't mean to do. But it's because I need to stop. And I teach this all the time that you need to not be the bottleneck in your own business. And I am learning that in real time. So I brought in more support this year. I've brought in Sarah, who's helping me with this podcast. Obviously, Holly is here, but Holly has stepped into a higher level of leadership. She is now our operations. She is doing so many things on the back end and for the front of the community, the onboarding, the in-person meetings, the summit, all of those things. She is working way more now than she ever has for this community. She's running operations. I've brought in Vanessa to help us optimize our software system of Circle and help us rebuild some of these systems and platforms. And she's an expert at that. I've also brought on a part-time marketing person who was an intern 2 years ago, Katie, who's helping me build out marketing for our chapter launches. All of these things together have forced me to get out of the doing and the tweaking and I'll just fix this real quick and communicate better with what I need and communicate better with what my vision is and then letting them carry it out and trusting them and empowering them, giving them the ability to carry it out in a way that makes sense, because I don't know all of the nuts and bolts of my back-end systems anymore. But I do know that I also need to systematize some of the things that I'm doing. So as I'm onboarding new chapters, I'm actually systematizing that process. So I took my speaker training that is required for chapter leadership that was only offered in person for 2 years, and I turned it into a digital course so that they can work through that as they're becoming a chapter leader. I also have been documenting processes. So I help them launch their social media pages. I actually go in, I create the page, I set the password, I link the Instagram and Facebook, and then I hand it over to them and say, here you go. Here's your page now. You get to do with it as you want to promote your chapter. And I give them some posts ready to go and things like that. But I had to document that whole process so that someday I don't have to be doing that. Someone else can actually step in and do that too. So that is what it has looked like for me to step out of the doing, to empower and trust other people, to carry out my vision, to make some higher level decisions and pay other people to bring in their experience and their expertise, because that is not my genius. My genius is literally teaching, mentoring, strategy for your business, building out your ecosystem, holding you accountable to it, coming up with new ideas. That's my genius, not sitting behind my computer trying to build out systems and zaps and optimizing my software and building out a dashboard. Like, those are things that actually drain me. And so I need to not do them, literally have someone else do them and focus on building out the community and showing up for the people that I want to serve in person or virtually. So there you have it. Like, that's currently where I'm at. So the biggest overarching lesson that I am learning and have learned over the past 5 years plus of building this community and having other businesses is that you actually have to invest in that next level identity, that next level of growth and scaling your business before you feel ready, before you're even embodying it. I've had to make major investments in my business, and I'm talking financial investments in paying people and paying for trademarks and paying for systems to be built and paying for a very expensive summit experience because I knew the ROI would be felt. And I've had to pour so much back into the business in these years of growing because I'm holding the vision. And if I was only looking at it from where I'm at right now, investing in some of these things would not make sense to most people. But I'm not investing in myself or the business at where I'm at right now. I'm investing it where it's going to be in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 5 years. And so that is where I find a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck because they don't see the direct ROI. So they're not willing to take the leap. And I haven't started to see or feel the ROI of some of these investments yet. Some I have felt very recently in like these chapters launching, and some I haven't felt yet. And I hope that I will in the next 6 or 12 months. But that is the risk that you have to be willing to take to grow something big. To be bold, to be audacious, to say, these are my dreams, and it might not make sense right now to invest in this thing, but what would Stephanie do in 6 months, 12 months? Would she be him and hawing over this investment, or would she say, you better invest in that or you're going to regret it? Follow the nudges, follow the callings. I'm not telling you to make dumb investments. I'm telling you to invest in what makes sense for where you're going. Even if it doesn't make sense today, but you can see the vision, you can see what is possible. You've painted the picture, and now you have to step into it. And that's what I mean when I say the identity that I've had to embody before it's even here. I've had to embody the identity of being what I write down every single day is a community legacy builder. I am a community legacy builder, which means I am building something that lasts far beyond me. I'm building a legacy for a community. And in order to do that, I have to make investments in what that version of me would do. How would she show up? What would she spend her time doing? What would she pay someone else to do? And sometimes that feels really scary to make those decisions. And I'm not telling you to make unwise financial decisions, but I am telling you to take some dang risks. Because if you're not willing to take bold, audacious leaps, you're never going to grow something big. And big doesn't mean to be like more and bigger and better. Big can be whatever your version of your dream is. Bigger is not better. But when I say big, I mean big, scary, audacious goal that you have as a calling on your soul. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I don't think I've ever been this real, raw, and transparent about exactly what I've built over the last 5 years, what I've learned, why I've done this or that, and truly how strategic I am. I don't think people realize that unless you're really working with me behind the scenes or one-on-one or in my day-to-day. Every single move I've made over the past 5 years growing this community is strategic with intention. And that's because I already grew a business on burnout and I don't need to be burnt out again. So I knew if I was going to grow and scale Sister Circle, I was going to do it in a way that felt good, that was sustainable, profitable, scalable, and aligned with my soul, which is exactly what I'm doing, and not at the cost of my lifestyle or my health or my family time or any of those things I am not willing to sacrifice. So I'm here to take you on the journey and show you in real time what it looks like to scale and grow a business that doesn't burn you out and that still allows you to have the time and the energy and the health to do the things that light you up, that fill you up, that fill your cup. So come along with me. And if you want more episodes like this, behind the scenes of building this business, let me know. Please share this episode. Celebrate with me. 5 years is huge. Most businesses do not make it this long, unfortunately. But those that do start to really grow. And I'm here for that expansion. Thank you for everything, every single person that has been a part of this dream since the beginning. Whether you're still here or not, I want you to know how much gratitude I have for you. Thank you for being part of this. Let's keep building incredible things because we deserve it. And thank you for celebrating 5 incredible years of community with me. Keep building with sisterhood, soul, and strategy. Hey sis, if this episode spoke to you, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our weekly conversations that drop every Monday. And would you share this with a fellow sister that needs to hear this message too? If you're craving sisterhood, soul, and strategy in action, I'd love for you to step inside our Sister Circle community, where we gather, grow, and build intentional businesses together in real life and real time. I promise, business is more fun in sisterhood. Until next time, keep leading with soul, honoring your season, and don't forget, I'm always cheering for you.